Hi, welcome to Where's Wilmington? I'm Lisa Capalla, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you my new little find, Dr. Susan McCombs, who's a hypnotist. Don't go running away. We're not going to talk about anything scary. We're just going to give you some ideas about what hypnotism really is and how it can help you. So thank you for coming in today, Susan.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you again.
Yes.
I actually found you, I think through the phone book. I was looking for myself to deal with some anxiety and for a dear friend of mine to stop smoking. And we found you, and here you are today to talk a little bit about what I found out. So I have to tell you, I was a little nervous coming to a hypnotist. I had, I think, a lot of ideas about the swinging watch that everybody thinks of. And I think I was a little nervous about maybe opening up my mind to someone I don't know.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about how you got into hypnotism? Because I think that's a very interesting story. And then maybe speak to the piece about some trepidation people might have to seeing a hypnotist.
I'd be happy to.
Sure.
Actually, several years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago actually, I started to attempt to quit smoking on my own. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And no matter what I tried, it didn't work. I did the American Lung Association, I did the Heart Association. Emerson Hospital had a routine I went through. I did the patch, I did the gum.
So your problem wasn't having the desire to quit. You just hadn't found the right path,
I hadn't found
maybe.
the tool that was going to work for me.
Right.
And I was sharing my story with a friend of mine from Bedford who was the coordinator of the adult education program there. And she said, "Have you ever tried hypnosis?" And you know, Lisa, I rolled my eyes and I said, "No, I haven't." But I went home that night and I thought about it and I said, you know, I haven't tried it and I can't knock it until I try it. I called Mary Hurley back the next morning. She gave me a phone number of a hypnotist at the time he was in Malden, David Pendleton. I called him, set up an appointment. I went down there and I sat around a table. There were 4 or 5 of us. He played some music and he said, "I'm doing a guided meditation. All you have to do is in your mind's eye, follow my path, follow my lead." So I thought, well, sounds easy enough. I had done guided meditation before, so I wasn't afraid of it. And we went through the program. When it was all over with, Lisa, I thought, what was that all about? You know, and here I am in Malden. I'm wondering about the streets like cooked spaghetti there, and how am I going to find my way back to Route 93? How am I going to get home? I came home, and 3 months later, I hadn't had a cigarette. Wow. And that, for me, I was just so filled with gratitude.
And that was from one session?
That was one session. And I was just so filled with gratitude. I called him back and I said, "David, I have to learn how to do this. I want to help other people quit smoking." And that's how this all started, was my deep, deep gratitude for really trying hard myself on my own to quit smoking and being unable to get past 3 days. I once made it 4 days, you know. But you have one, and then you're on the roller coaster again.
Right.
And that's true with any addiction.
Right.
And what people don't understand is when they pick up that first cigarette, nobody has any concept of addiction when they pick up their first cigarette. Usually they can be 10, 12 years old. They might be in their early teens. Some people are actually in college when they begin to start smoking. But they still have no sense of what addiction is all about.
Prior to picking up.
As
soon as you do, you're in.
You're in.
That's it.
And when you don't know what it's all about until you try to quit.
Right.
What I have found, so I got certified. I went back, I took a course with David. I became certified. I joined the National Guild of Hypnotists. I'm certified through them. I've been a member in good standing for over 18 years now with the National Guild. Since then, I've studied with many, many other people all over the world. Many in the United States. I've been to India, I've been to France, I've been to Germany, and other places along the line. And studied a lot of other avenues of alternative health care or complementary health care.
So you can feel confident in saying that you feel it's safe, people don't really have anything to worry about. In other words, the thing I was asking you about, but people being a little woo-woo.
Yeah, people are, in the United States, people are a little bit hesitant. One aspect of the hesitancy, I think, is that a lot of people's only exposure to hypnosis is going to a stage show or a nightclub.
Right.
And 90% of the people, of course, 95% of the people are in the audience watching people on stage and thinking, oh my God, I never want to do that myself.
Right.
So people there are 5 basic fears in hypnosis. One is of losing control.
Right.
Actually, the client is always in control. I cannot control you. And the example I give is if I could control you, I would hypnotize you and ask you to go rob a bank for me. Well, you've never heard of anybody robbing a bank under hypnosis.
No, that might be a good defense. We better put that out there. Somebody could use that. No, I'm teasing.
Some people think it's almost like out-of-body experience because they don't understand what it really is. And they're afraid if they go out, will they be able to get back in again? It's nothing like that at all. All it is a state of relaxation. And ideally, one would want to get to the state where they're almost asleep but not quite.
Right.
They have to be awake. They have to be hearing in order to go, follow the guided meditation. That works perfectly. Let's see, another thing people are afraid of is that they will reveal secrets.
Oh, right.
Who cares? No, they don't.
No,
they don't.
Unless you want to.
You won't do anything that's not in alignment with your value system.
Okay.
People are afraid that they will be barking like a dog or quacking like a duck when they leave the office. No. None of this is staged. There's a huge difference between the stage hypnosis and clinical hypnosis.
Is it a different kind or style of hypnosis, or do you use the same principles as you would?
Basically, somewhat the same principles. I tend to take a lot longer, a slower induction,
right,
helping people to relax. My main thing is to help people to relax. One of my main things is to explain what it is. What is hypnosis? We don't really understand. In the 1850s, there was a guy in France by the name of Mesmer. 1850s, 1750s, now confused on the dates. But Mesmer was healing people in his hometown, sometimes 30, 40, 50 people a day. Now, if somebody was doing that in your hometown, you'd say, I think we ought to check this guy out. Well, Benjamin Franklin from the United States was on an international team that went to investigate Mesmer.
That's the term mesmerized?
Mesmerized, yeah, that's where it comes from. Yeah, this process is very old and it goes way back before him. It's thousands of years old.
Yeah, and that's so funny about Americans, too. We tend to think we're so new age.
Yeah.
Hypnotism has been around, you're saying, since 17, 1800, something like that.
It goes back further than that, actually, but we'll just go back there for history now because it's documented. Jesus actually went to Egypt to study, to become a magician, to study magic. In those days, magic meant healing. Mm-hmm. And all hypnosis is what Benjamin Franklin and his group came back with as a report of observing Mesmer over a long period of time. They said, we don't know what's happening or why it works. We know it works. It seems to be a combination of deep relaxation and the power of suggestion. Bingo, that's it.
Can you hypnotize yourself?
Actually, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. All I do is guide you. You are hypnotizing yourself. You are the person in control, or the client is the person in control. Because a person can refuse to go there. If a person was afraid, they just aren't going to participate. They're not going to go along with it. And the thing is, we have so many issues, Lisa, that are helped by hypnosis. I just had a client this week. Actually, it was a week ago today. 11-year-old boy for bedwetting.
Oh, wow.
The first 2 nights he wet the bed, but he had strange dreams when he woke up. He would actually wake up instead of just wetting the bed asleep. He'd wake up, but a little bit confused. After the 3rd night, he hasn't wet the bed. Wow. He's had a dry bed.
So what other things can we use hypnotism for? Most people know it for weight loss, smoking, and anxiety. What other kinds of things? All
kinds of bad habits, Lisa. Nail biting, hair pulling. I do a lot of sports coaching. Sports coaching is, and I've developed my own golf program, but I've helped a lot of people from this area, coaching them in different types of sports. I've coached them in baseball.
So what do you help them see in their mind's eye, them doing the procedures better, or
visualizing their mentor, seeing their mentor do what they want to do. And we can just work on one aspect of what they want to accomplish and see their mentor and then watch them do that over and over again and see them step into that mentor's shoes and seeing themselves doing it over and then just practicing that in the back of their mind over and over and over again.
Okay. So the average person with an average situation, let's say smoking, or maybe they want to get better at golf, how many times do they need to come for sessions, and what do we do to reinforce? It's all well and good while you're there to think that way, but when you get back out into the world and things get in your way, how do we handle that?
Okay, on addictions are usually broken in one session. The one thing that I ask people, whether I'm doing adult education classes or private clients, I ask them not to consume any alcohol prior to the session. Somehow, I don't know why, alcohol will interfere with it, with the whole thing being successful. And on anxieties, there are different ways of helping people to program themselves to relax during the day, just letting tension and stress drain out of their body on some sort of a cue, some sort of a trigger. Sometimes I ask people to drink water. Right. Feel the water go over their tongue, down their throat, down their esophagus, and as they do that.
And that's what you did with me, and it really helps.
Just let the tension and stress out.
I didn't think it was going to help, to be truthful, but it really does.
Yeah.
What about what folks need to look for if they're trying to find a hypnotist in the area?
Good
what
question.
Kinds of things do we really need to know so that we feel comfortable and confident? I know you said you're certified, various associations.
Well, I'm board certified, there are only 3 of us in Massachusetts that are board certified, which means I've gone through an extremely lengthy written exam plus an oral exam with a guy that's pretty high up there. Mm-hmm. But if you're looking for a hypnotist, probably the best thing to make sure they're certified. Okay. And then check the certification. If they're certified through the National Guild of the American Association of Hypnotists or wherever they're associated with, check them out, make sure they are certified. Just find out how much experience they've had. Get somebody with some experience.
Are there different kinds of hypnotists? Are there clinical hypnotists or hypnotists who only deal with stage shows? Are there different people we should see? I mean, I know there's cognitive therapists, there's all different kinds of therapists, so does that work the same way?
Sort of. There's one classification of hypnotists that just work with hypnobirthing.
Oh, wow.
Women can have painless childbirth using hypnobirthing.
Sounds pretty good.
We work a lot with pain. I work a lot with pain with different clients. There's another group that does strictly stage hypnosis, which is some of the same things, but
so you
very
basically
different.
Just have to ask questions and do your homework.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And if whatever your issue you want to work with, or that you're working with, make sure that the hypnotist has had experience and expertise in that area.
In that particular area. I would imagine you folks are pretty good about referring people if it's not what you do, because you're in the helping and healing profession. So, anything final you'd like folks to know? I know that you do reinforce your sessions with CDs. Anything else you'd like people to know about hypnotism before we close today?
Well, I guess if they had a specific question, and sometimes people are embarrassed to ask the questions, but there's nothing to be embarrassed about. But they could give me a call.
Okay, and we'll put your website and information on the screen
or
for folks.
check out my website. And I'd be happy. Generally, if people send a question through my website, I usually respond within 24 hours. And the same with my phone. I'm away from my desk a lot, or I'm with clients. I have the phone turned off. I do not have a secretary. So, I'm sort of one gal doing it all.
Excellent.
But I will return the call right away.
Thank you so much for coming,
Lisa,
Dr. Susan McCombs. All right, folks, well, that was the first part of our show. The second half, we're going to talk to Dan Vassallo, who just ran the marathon and placed 24th. I will bet you that he used some visualization to get there. So stay tuned and we'll find out about that next.
There's something about you, baby. I can't get enough. There's something about you, baby. I got you looking at me, I'm gonna call you bluff. There's something about you. There's something about you.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. It takes a man to be a dad.
To the morning light.
Hi, I'm Jessica Vassallo from Girl Scout Troop 799, and you're watching WCTV, Wilmington Community Television.
Hi, welcome back for the second half of Where's Wilmington? Glad you stayed with us. I'm Lisa Capalla, and as promised, we have Dan Vassallo here with us. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. It's good to be here.
Yeah, he did something really amazing. But first, I want to get a little background on how you got to do this amazing thing that you did. You ran the Boston Marathon and placed 24th.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That's really amazing. But I'm sure you had to do some other things before you got to that point. So when did you start running? Was this something you did when you were younger, even younger than you are now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd say that I kind of started I probably started back when I was around 10 years old. I think my first road race was the Joe Bamberg race here in Wilmington. So I did that, and then I did the 4th of July race for the first time in probably '97 when I was 12, and didn't really finish too well there, but...
Well, you were 12, come on.
Well, yeah, exactly. but yeah, I just remember how tired I was at the end of that race.
Right.
But, then mostly I think what happened was my dad ran, and I rode the bike behind him. And I mean, he didn't really run too far, especially compared to what I'm doing now, but that's really how it started, I guess.
So what is it about running that you love? Because I would guess you haven't just completed one marathon, you've completed two, the main marathon also, and probably some others. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Why do you do it?
I mean, I was never really good at any other sports. I mean, I was a soccer player in high school, or I thought I was a soccer player. I didn't make the team my second year. And I was also not a very good baseball player. I struck out a lot. I walked because my strike zone wasn't too big, but I'd say I struck out a lot more than I walked. And was really bad at basketball, so really the only way that I could compete was run, and it took me a while to figure that out too.
Okay.
So I was the smallest kid in the track team too my freshman year.
Wow. What advice could you give people if they're out there thinking that they want to follow your path and complete a marathon?
Well, it's not going to happen overnight if you want to perform well at it. I mean, it's something that's going to require just several months of dedication and
training.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of training. Especially a lot of training when you really just don't. You don't want to go out there.
Right.
Don't want to go out there at all. I mean, dead of winter. You have to work all day, and after that, you have to get out and do your run, or you have to get up early in the morning, which is what I have to do a lot of the time now. So.
Right. Did you find that over time you could get into the zone when you ran that people talk about, or are you somewhere else with that?
Well, I don't know what you mean by the zone, but...
Well, some people say when they're running, they feel like they're one with the road. It's a solitary experience for them where they can really clear their heads. Kind of like a serotonin rush that you might get from exercising. Have you ever felt like that?
I mean, kind of, not really. I mean, it's kind of weird, if I'm running, and it's the nighttime, and there's you can't really see anything in front of you. You just know there's a road ahead of you, and then then a car comes by and maybe honks at you, and totally.
Right.
It's kind of
breaks
like
your concentration.
Exactly.
So what does a typical training schedule for you, someone who's a marathon runner, look like? What would you normally have done for training to really get to the point where you could do it? I mean, the marathon is what, 26 miles?
Yeah.
So how did you start out?
It's a lot of miles. Just a lot of miles. I mean, at my highest points before my first marathon, I got up to about 110 miles a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my second time around when I was training for Boston, I got up to 120.
Okay.
And I stayed up above 100 for probably 8 weeks.
Oh my goodness, that's unbelievable. When you went to do the Boston Marathon, I understand you had to qualify by doing the main marathon?
Yes.
Can you explain to us a little bit about how that works? Because I didn't know that actually to get a place in the Boston Marathon, to get a good place, you have to work something out for other marathons. Can you explain to us how that works?
Well, in the United States, there are only 2 marathons that require qualifying standards, and the Boston Marathon is one of them. The other one's the Olympic trials. And I mean, the Boston Marathon, you have to run a certain time. Not exactly sure what it is. It's slightly over 3 hours for somebody my age. But yeah, you have to qualify for it. You have to run that time at a different marathon, or really be a very important person, as far as either, I guess, credibility as a runner or through charity. You can raise money through charity and.
Okay.
And,
so did you have in mind when you did the main marathon that you were using this to qualify for the Boston Marathon, or were you just running the main marathon to see how you were going to do?
I would say more of the second one, because I mean I was pretty confident that I could run under that 3-hour mark, but. I mean, yeah, I just want to go out there and compete because, well, I figured I was going to be a marathon runner a lot a lot earlier than I actually was. I
Okay.
mean, when I was running track for Wilmington High School, I never thought I was going to be good enough to run track in college. So I was like,
Really?
well, 19 years old, I'm going to be running the Boston Marathon for the first time.
Wow.
'Cause that's what everybody
So
says.
when did you make the shift from maybe I can't do it to yeah, I think I can? When did you actually shift your thinking?
For college track,
Yeah.
I mean, probably junior, senior year. I mean, I dropped my personal record in the 2 mile by 26 seconds during one meet my junior year.
And
It's
is
actually the
is
day-
that really good? You know, 'cause
Yeah,
I don't know what the
it's
numbers
pretty
are.
significant. And that was actually the day the Patriots won the Super Bowl. So,
Oh wow! So
well,
it was a
they won
double
their first-
joy
yeah,
for you.
They won their
Excellent.
first Super Bowl that day.
Okay.
And then after that, I mean, I trained a lot more that next summer, and I put up some decent cross-country times for Wilmington.
Good. Now, I'm sure you had support from your family and friends to do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What kinds of things did folks do to help you? Just encourage you to get up and go running? Did your dad go running with you? Did you have a running partner? Do you have a running trainer? How does that work?
You mean now or back
Or
in
then,
the day? Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess it was kind of a big day. The day that I made my dad throw up
Oh my goodness.
was, yeah. I mean, we were running together, and he was talking a lot of trash, saying that he could keep up with me, and I decided to convince him that he couldn't keep up with me, and I made him sick.
And it
So,
worked.
yeah, that was pretty fun.
How was the Maine Marathon's course different than the Boston Marathon course? People always talk about Heartbreak Hill
Yeah,
and the
sure,
weather
sure.
here. So can you tell us how running in Maine is different from running in Boston?
Well, I mean, it's much hillier, as a whole.
Here?
No.
Oh, there.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Maine, it's definitely hillier. I mean, I'd say Wilmington's pretty flat, but I mean the way that the Boston course goes is it goes downhill for the first 15 or so, then it goes up and then sharp down again. Whereas the Maine Marathon, you go slightly uphill for about 8, then it's up and down for I guess another 8 miles, and then it's a gradual downhill for the
Unbelievable.
last 10 or so.
When you were running the marathon, was there any part of the course that was particularly difficult for you? The Boston Marathon, everybody has a different part
Yes,
where they feel like
absolutely.
they hit the wall. Where was
Absolutely.
that for you?
Well, my first 15 miles to the second were exactly where I wanted
That
it to
just
be.
cracks me up. Your first 15 miles.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
15.
I mean, my first 15 miles, everything seemed like it was going fine. I struggled a little bit up the hills, but I had a guy that I was running with, and the guy, he actually won the Mount Washington road race.
Wow.
His name's Eric Blake, and he's a pretty legitimate runner from Connecticut. So going up Heartbreak Hill, we slowed down a little bit, but not too much. And then going down Heartbreak Hill, I felt good again. Then when it leveled out, that's kind of when I realized that there just wasn't that extra gear in my legs anymore.
Wow.
So I mean,
How did you
I've
make
been,
yourself go? When
well,
you're that exhausted, were you hearing in your head, just got to keep going, just got to keep going? What do you do to make yourself
I don't know. I
finish?
mean, there's really not much of a choice. I mean,
Right, you're either
if
gonna do it or
be-
you're not.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be one of the top guys and just dropping out of the Boston Marathon, it's
Not a good idea.
no, not at all. So, I mean, just try to take it 1 mile at a time, really, and
So for you, not finishing wasn't an option, and that's probably how you did it. Your mindset was, I'm completing this marathon no matter what.
well, yeah, no, I mean, I'd say that was pretty much the case. No, I mean, when it was the worst for me, it was when it was about 4 miles left. You could see the Prudential Center, you could see the John Hancock building, and they're pretty far away. And I was like, I don't want to run this far. I
Too
mean,
late now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I was scared. I was scared that I was not going to physically be able to finish.
Really?
So I kept on going, and that's when I really struggled. I mean, I've been telling my friends that I wish people congratulate me on my good marathon run. I was like, well, you should congratulate me on a good 22.5-mile run instead.
Well, you
'cause-
still completed it, and that's the important
that's
thing.
true.
Finishing is the important thing. And you know what people never talk about is how they feel after they ran the race. So did you have euphoria when you completed it, and then were you sick the next day, or were you never wanted to run again?
I felt like dying, really. Yeah.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I crossed the finish line, and all that pain that I'd tried to ignore, previously. I mean, I was okay when I realized that I wasn't going to be, DNFing this race. Do not finish
Right,
this
right.
race. I was, I kind of just put off the pain for a while. I crossed the finish line, and it was agonizing. It was really bad.
Really?
They wanted to take me away in a wheelchair, but
Wow.
I didn't really want to do that. I just want to go home, really.
Now, did you get right out and run the next day, or a week later, or how long did you take off before you got back into training again?
After the main marathon, I tried to run the next day, and that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to walk around for the first couple of days. So I walked about 1.5 miles, which was at the behest of my coach, Fernando Braz of Merrimack Valley Striders.
Excellent.
So yeah, he told me to walk a mile and a half, so I walked a mile and a half. And then the second day I ran 3 miles with my roommate. So
Good. What's your next goal now that you've come in 24th and your time was actually
2:25:10.
That's
what I
excellent.
ran. Yeah.
What is the marathon winner usually come in at around? Is it an hour
Faster,
or so? Well,
faster.
obviously, yeah.
Well, no, the world record is it's slightly under 2:05 right now.
So you're not that far behind.
I'm
That's pretty darn
I'm
good.
pretty
Believe
far
me, it's
behind.
better than I would have done.
That's true.
Are you going to try to do more marathons in the future? Make
Yes,
this your-
absolutely.
Really? What's your
Absolutely.
next goal? Let's hear.
My
it.
next goal is to qualify for the U.S. Olympic trials for the next
Really?
Olympic Games.
Wow. Now, what do you have to do that?
I'm gonna have to run a 2:19.
You think you can do it?
I think I can do it. Well, maybe not on the Boston course, but I mean, if I put another good year and a half of training into it, that's what the next goal is.
Wow.
So.
Now, how will you have to change your training regime in order to do that? Will there be big changes, or will it just mean logging more time?
I mean, the fact that I'm 23 years old and I'm getting older, that's going to help me.
Well, 23 is pretty young.
Exactly.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, but by the time that I'm going to have to qualify for this race, I'll be 25, 26 years old, which is closer to the peak of a marathon runner.
Okay.
And I mean, I'll just have more miles under my belt. I'll have more experiences under my belt. I'm probably not going to run a marathon for a while now, for at least 18 months.
Will you make
so.
diet changes or weight
I have
train to
make-
build protein?
I
or any of
absolutely
that?
have to make diet changes. I'm what you would call a major caffeine addict. I drink a lot of, just a lot of soda. And
Well,
I have
I'm
to
with you
take-
there.
I have to cut that
I'm not
out of
going to
my
run
diet.
any marathons or qualify for the Olympics anytime soon.
Yeah.
Tell me what else you've been doing with your life other than running marathons. I know you have a really great job. I'd like you to tell everybody about
I am
what
working
you do.
in the ticket office for the Portland Sea Dogs baseball team in Portland,
Nice.
Maine.
So you get to be around athletes all day, which
That's
is
true.
good for you.
Very true. Yeah,
Good.
I mean, everybody, even everybody there, they're kind of treating me like a celebrity after the.
Oh, that's nice.
after the marathon
You must
happens,
feel really
so.
proud of yourself that you've completed something. I mean, there's always goals to reach,
Mm-hmm.
but you completed a major milestone that not a lot of people have done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just wish I could have, could have done it faster, and could have put an entire race in there. That was good instead of just 22 and a half miles out of it. So.
All right. Well,
Just gotta
you're
keep on
tough on
going.
yourself.
Just
I
gotta keep on
understand
going.
that. That's what makes you such a professional. What do you want to do with your future other than running in the Olympics? What are you planning? What was your major in college?
I was an English major in college.
Me too.
Oh, excellent. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, baseball has always kind of been a goal of mine. And
So you think maybe a caster for the teams or something like that,
well,
or
I mean,
writing?
work in the front office is something that I've been working toward for the past couple of years. And I mean, now that running is becoming so important a part of my life, I'm not sure if the hours that baseball demands, which during the
Right.
season, if teams at home, it's 95, 100 hours a week. So not
So
sure if that's going to be able to mesh with running.
You might have to make some choices and see
Exactly.
what shakes out of there.
Sure.
Anything final you'd like our audience to know, or you want to tell us about running? Anything in general you want to share?
No, I think that's really all I have.
Excellent. When you qualify for the Olympics, because I know you will you come back and see us?
Absolutely, I can do that.
Excellent.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Dan Vassallo.
Thank you.
Wilmington is proud to have you. We really are.
Well, I mean,
Meant a lot.
I am proud to be from Wilmington. It's been a great place to grow up, great place to train, and I mean, it's always got a special point in my heart. As far as
You can put us on the map.
Exactly.
That would be excellent.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Dan, for being with us. Just want to remind you that we're here pretty much all the time here at WCTV. You can watch us anytime. Check WCT.org for our schedule. And just remember, the next time someone asks you, where's Wilmington? You tell them right here and right here on WCTV. We'll see you